Yo, what
What's
up?
up, buddy? You just sit there, you ain't gonna introduce the show?
I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was gonna let y'all get a chance to get in first. What's up, everybody? This is Reed Brandis. I'm your host, Anthony Goodson, alongside two of the ugliest niggas I've ever seen in my life.
That's right.
Adrian Ace Stinson. What's up, Ace?
What's going on, world? How y'all doing? Hey, shout out to all our Jamaica people. I see y'all already logged in.
And Eric Russell. What's up, Eric?
What I did notice, you said two ugliest in the world, and then you had named Ace first. So I appreciate that. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I'm glad to be here today, guys. Let's get this rocking.
Rocking and rolling tonight. We got a very interesting show. It's three guys on one show talking about a topic that Ace don't even know what we have going on. He just popped in. So Ace, all this is going to be new to you. It's very impromptu.
Right. As long as I'm with you
about
guys,
dating.
I know everything's going to be all right.
Tonight we're talking about dating. Well, we should have had a woman on this show tonight.
We're
That
gonna
would have been very.
get some women interaction, though. I got a good feeling about that. A lot of interaction tonight.
I believe we will too. Tonight, dating, ladies, you're going to get a lot of male perspective on this show. But please comment. In fact, I want everybody to take their time right now. Go share this show. It's showing at the bottom of your screen. Share.
Share this page. Share this page.
Let me go do it too. Please, by the way, everyone, go to YouTube and watch the show if you have any issues with Facebook or whatever. We got a couple other places coming too, so including Apple Podcasts. But anyway, share this show tonight. Tonight
Also,
it's going to be a fun show.
Let's go to YouTube page though. Make sure they know what to go to specifically. It's Rebrand Us Podcast, all one word. Don't separate it.
Brand Us Podcast. What's up, Leonard? What's going on,
Dating.
baby?
That's what we're talking about tonight. It's a very interesting show because we came up with it earlier and we were thinking, let's talk about dating from the perspective of three married men. That's very interesting because we've all been married at least 9, almost 10 years each and above. So Ace, you've been married for 12, 14, and me and Eric 16. So me and Eric, we've both been married. Couple. How long we been married, Eric?
I've been married 9 years. I don't know about yourself, brother.
Yeah, I'm right around that. But anyway, so if we look at that from our perspective, things have changed even in the last 9 to 16 years versus today and versus when we were kids or when our parents were kids. So we definitely want to have a conversation about that. And there's a lot of topics. We're just going to go all over the place. And we would like for y'all to throw some questions out there as well. But dating in 2023, it looks a little bit different, y'all. For example, let's take dating in 1983 versus 2023.
I wasn't dating nobody in 1983.
He must have been a late bloomer because I was out there killing him, mate. Eric.
I'm a late bloomer too. I was about 4, so I'm good on dating.
Yeah, man, I was out there killing him. That's how I was brought up. But anyway, in 1983 there was absolutely positively no internet at that time. So let's just go ahead and start off by talking about that part. There was no internet dating at that time because obviously there was no internet. And so now that has changed the game because cowards can now, just like we talk about social media bullying and all that stuff, a cowardly man don't have to be a manly man and step up to a woman anymore. Now he can just, go online and ask for somebody's phone number. It's a different world. What do y'all think about that?
Man, I say it all the time. I'm glad you brought that up because I had me a checklist, and that's one of the first things I had. Social media, human interaction ain't there, and if we're talking about then versus now, I can't speak for 1984, but I can speak for 94 stuff like that. I remember you had to have your haircut and you had to groom up, and I didn't have one. I didn't have like the latest name brand, but what I had was clean. It was iron. It was neat. And you had to be able to step to a young lady and actually say something. Try to have some kind of nice line or "Excuse me, ma'am, how you doing?" Stuff like that. And nowadays, exactly, it goes down in the DMs, and it's no human interaction. Like you got people like the thing we see now when they say got flued out. Guys flying women different places and expecting sex and vacation, all that kind of stuff. These people literally just met in person on the flight. you know, they've been DMing in the social media and whatever. You don't even know, like one of them could have halitosis or something. Now you going somewhere finna be, you know, be with them and stuff. It's just a new day, and that human interaction is not there. Like a conversation, like can we both put our phones down and actually talk to each other over a whole dinner?
So I'm gonna come at it from a different angle. I'm gonna try my best because I don't want to bash new age versus old age, but there are just some storage differences and some subtle differences for sure. But I would say that for sure, if I would survive in both eras. I mean, I was a little shy. I still would be considered shy today, but I still have to learn how to be, like Anthony said, be more brave and to approach a female to get a number or to start communication up with them, whatnot, whatever the case may be. But also too, there are certain levels of confidence you have to step to, because I think now somebody who may not have confidence, that much confidence, can step to a girl that may be from a beautiful standpoint or a handsome standpoint 10 times above what they normally would do in person because they got confidence online. So I think that gives you more confidence or a little bit less ability to feel vulnerable to get rejected as opposed to in person. So there's some pros and cons to it. There's always be that with the internet right now. There's always be a lack of interaction with people, and we're going to continue losing that unless we intentionally work towards trying to put those phones down, put those computers down, put those tablets down, and sit down with one another. But I like both eras, but I still prefer mine. Growing up, having to approach a female, because you have to learn how to become a younger man, become a man, and then how do you learn to lead without approaching somebody first? You know what I'm saying? So I think the difference of benefits from being an older gentleman as myself or older than like Anthony.
All right, let's go to the comments. I really like what you said about something. I want to come back to that real quick, but let's go to the comments. Megan said these new married people are out here dating as well. And then she also says, she says, "Hey, Adrian," and then we got someone who says, "Hello, my guys." I'm not sure who that is.
That's so true. That's true.
It's true. You said something else very interesting. You said something very interesting, Eric. You said, we're trying to be leaders as men. And don't y'all think, like, when you go old school, the way we used to do it, step into a woman in Walmart or the mall or the airport, wherever you decide to step, that rejection is part of the game. It's like, there's a 50-50 chance. And that's part of the chase. And if you win that chase, of course, that means she looks at you and physically sees something that she's interested in too, as well as you did to her. And so that's when the game truly begins. Whereas, Eric, I remember one time, I've said this on here before, Eric and I, we used to be roommates for years. And we were sitting right here in this office that I'm in right now. And we both got, I'm telling way too much. I'm sorry, Eric, I'm telling you. We both got on plentyoffish.com, but we were actually not looking for any fish. We were just fishing. So what we were doing was we would sometimes have a conversation about whatever life brought to us. For 2 hours, the game was to see how many women we could get phone numbers by going on Plenty of Fish. So we just, we'd have to approve one another. Eric, what you think about this one? Anthony, what do you think about this? And we went back and forth for 2 hours to see who could get the most numbers. And, in that process, you learn there's no personality. There's nothing personable in that situation. It's all about just the game, the chase. And even though we were doing that with each other, just imagine some dude is in his office by himself doing it with all these women too. So this woman don't have any kind of specialness about her. I don't know if I made up a word. She's just one that's in line, after the next one. He's swiping left or right or whatever all day long. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think that changes the way the game is?
We're not gonna go past this. Now, did any fish get put on the hook?
Oh man, what you think? We both married.
Y'all didn't meet them women on no Plenty of Fish.
Approaching women these days will get you put on blast on Instagram. That's really a good point. Because see, that's where the difference is. In 1983, we had to approach women. In 2023, if you approach them, they're saying, "Who is this?" That you can put on blast on Instagram. Never happened to me, Leonard. Maybe that's a story.
Definitely want to hear Leonard talk. Women come in, and also some younger folks as well, because this age is y'all now. I mean, we don't remember. Like I said, 10 years for the most part, we ain't had experienced this kind of stuff. And plus, Ace, he's a vet in this, so he don't really know how this thing go no more. You know what I'm saying? So we need some feedback, some perspective.
Well, I keep in touch. I'm gonna tell you what's funny how things change. I'll never forget. Me and my nephew were somewhere, and I told him, I was like, "Say, you see her?" I was like, "Say, man," I said, "She pretty. You need to try to, you need to try to get with her and stuff like that." I said, "Hey," I said, "What's up? You got a pen on you? Stuff like that." And he started laughing at me. And I'm like, "What? I'm old school, player, And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Oh, you can't, man. What you talking about a pen? You'll get laughed at. You got to get your phone and put a number right in your phone." I was like, "Really?" I'm like, "So you get laughed at if you have a pen and paper to get a girl number?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Wow, I guess it's just the little things how how stuff change and how things are received as time changes."
Thank y'all for keeping the comments coming through. I'm not sure who this is. Eric, who's this next comment? Says women today are not like it was 10 or 15 years ago. Women are educated now and they are wanting to be chased by an educated man. They don't have much for the man that has nothing to gain.
Miss Deborah.
That's Miss Good.
All caps. I'm not sure if she yelling at us or what.
She mean what she say though.
She mad at somebody. So you got to read it in all caps.
This is apparently not her. Either that or she learned what the caps button is. It says, LOL, I'm just saying, when you see a woman yelling at a blind man for starting at her, and then the manager at the gym tells him he needs to stop staring at people and making him uncomfortable. Like a story that happened to you at the gym this morning. Tell us.
Hop on, good Lord.
So people handling rejection better or worse today? What do y'all think?
Today, they killing them. They're like, "What's up, baby? Can I get your number?" "Oh, no, I'm not interested." Bah! Like, they killing them. So yeah, that's I remember the rejection thing used to be a fun thing. I'm gonna tell you something. My frat brother Brendan used to approach any woman. He didn't care how much out of his league she was, stuff like that. I'd be like, "Brendan, you're not finna go try to talk to her." And he would step to her with confidence, and he would get shot down. And he'd be like, "Well, on to the next one." And he wouldn't care. And I used to be at awe of him. I'd be like, "I can't believe you went up to her, So, back then it was the game. It was like, "Hey, I'm gonna try my luck. She can't say nothing." But no, nowadays it's the participation. It's the participation trophy age. It's like, no, you can't say no to me. I like you and I want your number.
My buddy Chill from Stephen F. Austin, Chill Will from Dangerfield, Texas, he would say to me, we'd be somewhere sometime. He said, "Man, look at that girl over there." And he'd say, "Man, I'll be right back. I'm finna go get rejected real quick." My mama would say, "You have what you say," because he would get them sometimes. Sometimes he wouldn't. I completely agree. I really wish that y'all would.
They'll attach it to Miss Deborah's comment.
Okay. It's just worse. He's right. People get killed for saying no, thank you. It's terrible. I mean, because we always talk about how this generation of children are either dumb or dumber than us or lazier than us or more entitled than us. And it just seems like it gets worse as time go on. We heard the same thing when we were kids too, by the way. But when it comes to people interaction, I can for sure say that it's not the same as when we were kids. And now you're talking about rejection. Now you're talking about I'm entitled, but I can't get what I want, which is that man or that woman over there. All of a sudden, it gets far worse. So when a man walks up to a girl and he gets rejected by that girl, all of a sudden, his entitlement goes away. And that's why we start talking about killing and all those things. So is that part of what rejection is about today? Is that part of the community that we live in today?
Yeah, I think it's just that not knowing how, because that's Mr. Goose.
Just my look.
He just had his looks. He had no game. But that rejection thing, it's part of it was all part of the game, and like I said, in today's day and time, it's the press, the social media age, so everybody's looking at you. "Oh, she said no to you," and "Oh, you got shot down." Everybody's laughing and stuff like that, and it's like as a society nowadays, people don't know how to handle rejection. Nobody wants to be laughed at. Nobody wants to be made fun of, and things like that, and it spills over on to the dating game, the courting, the matchmaking, and I think that's why now you see the majority of people meeting online and everything because you're probably getting dissed in private versus in front of folks.
Okay, so
Eric, let me say this real quick though, just to respond to something you said. I don't think many people. I know you say your homeboy Brennan, he didn't care about getting laughed at or whatever. But I would say the average dude does care. I can't speak for women, but I think most of the average dude they do care about getting embarrassed. But I don't think it's necessarily fun, but I think it's part of the process. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's something that we have to go through, but we necessarily got to enjoy it. Growth is not enjoyable typically. Growth is pain typically, right? So I think that's when we got to continue even in our households with our families or whatever, whether you married, dating, whatever case may be. You're gonna have some rejection at work, you got some rejection in dating, you got rejection in your family, you got rejection wherever. The more and more you get it, the better you get at it. But you also growing because you learn something. Hopefully, that's the goal of it.
How much you think women get rejected? Y'all think women get rejected at a high rate? Is it automatic yes for women?
I'll tell you what. Hold off on the answer to that. Let's go to the comments, and then I'm gonna ask that in a more formal way. That was my next question. That was something that Eric asked before the show. But anyway, it says I still don't understand why dudes ask for the IG before they ask for the number, perhaps to avoid flat out rejection. That's probably what it is. I mean, it's funny because you got somebody right there in your face, and instead you ask for their Instagram.
It was like, hey, I don't want to talk to you right now, but can I get your social media so we can type each other?
It said, do this again with single men as guests because we really want to know what they think. Okay.
Hey, we were single men once before.
Hey guys, hope y'all are going well. I feel like we are. Thank you very much. So the question that you pose is, I'm gonna reframe the question because Eric asked this right before the show, and so this next segment we'll ask it like, who has the advantage? Is it the men or the women, and why? Now let me give you my two cents. It seemed like before I got married, around 2008, around that time, it seemed like men had the advantage. Every woman wanted to be married. All these women out here had it was more women to men, and the ratio was off. Maybe that was the time of my age that I was at that time, late 20s, early 30s. But now it seems like the women have the advantage. So I'll throw that out to
y'all. Definitely a buffer. So you're saying who has the advantage in the dating game period?
Sound it out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me see. C. Jane run to dating. I think it's always been the women to an extent. I just think nowadays they abuse the power that they have. Women used to kind of hit you with and stuff like that and be modest. Nowadays it's kind of like, what make you think I'd ever be with a F boy like you, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of different because I mean it's just, you can tell they got the advantage by some of the videos you're seeing. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out on a date, but these my girls and you're gonna pay for them too. And stuff like that. And the new saying is, if you're broke, say you're broke.
The new saying is, I'll be right back. Go to the bathroom. I won't be back. Men age and are seen as distinguished. Women are seen as old. I like that comment.
Not really, Megan, because the Cougar Nation is running things.
My wife said I had no looks, but I had a job. It might be my daddy.
As your daddy.
But let me talk to my daddy. Everybody put their mics down for a minute. At least you didn't say you were ugly. You just didn't have no looks. That is no looks versus being ugly. Because I mean, think about it. At some point, they like, I don't want to date Jimmy. Jimmy ugly. Jimmy stink. Jimmy this. You don't want to be that negative dude. It says my daughter's 22. She says they seem nice for a minute, and then they ask how she likes it in bed. Whoa. Then it's a block. You guys have daughters. Now, what are you telling your daughters about the dating game? What are you telling them? I bet that's Deborah Goodson.
Oh, the number one thing is please understand that your father will go to the penitentiary. That's number one. That's serious right there. So I need you to make good decisions so I can make good decisions. And then the most thing, that's reality. Like
Yeah.
don't put me in a position where I got to be in the back of a police car, please. But I think the main thing is complete honesty. Especially my oldest, I have to, have those talks. She's 22, and it's just straight up honesty. Like let her know, look, this is how guys think, so like that. So I tell her, make sure make sure that you kind of feeling somebody out first. Don't just jump in head over heels.
I want y'all to address that question. Let a middle-aged man get divorced. This is Megan. At 45, he'll be married in a year. She won't. Megan she really stand on this one.
But hey, don't let her use a Jedi mind trick, because she's a counselor. She's a professional. She's professional. So don't let her warp our mind. She have us agree with everything she say if we just listen to her. So you have to tune her out and come from another place. She's a professional.
I think there's a point to that for sure, and I think it's shifting in this culture today. But I think it all hinges around what you bring to the table. And that's typically what's in your pocketbook for a man, and it's typically what's under your clothes for a woman, right? So I think it's shifting just because of those two things. I think up until 2000 and probably 12, 15 area right there, I think that's 100% accurate in my opinion. But I do think it's shifting now. So I do think every point, Megan. Or Megan, is it Megan or Megan?
Megan.
Okay.
Megan. Okay. Megan is right, someone said. And then I'm stating facts. That must be
Megan. I think the difference in that is, so a man divorced at 45 will be married in a year, because he gonna still go do the same dumb thing. He gonna see a big butt and a smile and be like, I like her. And he gonna go out there. A woman is gonna learn from mistakes, and she's gonna be more careful. And she's gonna see more red flags than them seen before. Stuff that she missed before. It'd be a regular conversation. She'd be like, no, I heard that. She keeping a checklist. And the dude just like, yeah, man, I met this chick, man. Yeah, man, had a big old booty, man. And that's the extent of a dude conversation and stuff. I'm gonna bring over so y'all can see her. Then he bring her, and all the fellas be like, Jay! And then they married.
All right, so I found this article on factsite.com. It says 10 facts about dating. I'm going to read them off, and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about them. It says the longer you spend dating somebody before marrying, the less likely the marriage is going to end in divorce. They say it's 40% less likely that you end in divorce if you date them for a long time. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, because I think after you done got on each other's nerves to that point, and you still make that decision to do it, then you kind of understand.
Yeah, and I think that, we ain't talked anything spiritual or godly in regards to dating at this point, and we might bring it up at another later point in this conversation. But I think that simply talking from a worldly standpoint, I think that that's probably true, just because you know more about them. They had a chance to kind of show more aspects of who they are. People say people show you who they are, then they change. They really don't change. You just seeing more parts of them coming out, and sometimes. The people do send their own presenter to the meeting or whatever case may be, and they show you something totally different. But most times, the people just show you more who they are in different situations. So I think that to answer your question, I definitely think it's accurate, because you get to see more of who they are as a person.
A woman's happiness, number 2, is a key indicator of a successful relationship. What do y'all think?
One more time. Say it one more time.
A woman's happiness is a key indicator of a successful relationship.
That's the happy life, happy wife, and I hate that.
Yeah, it's not a key, because sometimes it's based because it's not based on reality. Sometimes it can be based on selfishness. It can be based on perception as well.
All right, number 3 says no correlation has been found between astrological sign and compatibility. I hate it when people say that. I'm a Taurus and she's a Cancer. Man, we work well together. What does that mean?
I think it's adorable.
I think some people just look too much in and be like, I knew it wasn't going to work because, he was a Sagittarius and she was a Pisces. Like, okay, all right.
I don't like the fact that Eric said adorable. I mean,
it's adorable. I think it's adorable. The fact somebody put their livelihood in dating somebody into some signs from when you was born. I think it's adorable. I think it's silly and
Well,
adorable.
hey, he got to represent. We have all different type of communities watching this show. So
Well, not under 8. Before it was a video sharing giant, like it is today. Did y'all know that YouTube began as a dating site? When YouTube first launched, the founders of the website were unsure which direction they wanted to take it in. Since the domain was registered on Valentine's Day, they gave the website the tagline of "Tune in, hook up." The aim was initially to provide a platform where love-lorn singles could upload videos of themselves and hook up with others.
what type of videos were these?
Hey, wearing red can make people more attracted to you. Single people. This is what I'm reading right here.
Yes,
wearing
sure.
red
I
is on the factsite.com.
That's been proven since 1911. You know, you don't have to look any further than Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the greatest fraternity in all the land. I mean, yeah, I'll go with that.
Eric, I don't have control of his mute button. Can you? It says a word of advice for those looking to improve their dating life: wear red. There you go. All right, people are more likely to date somebody out of their league if they knew the person much longer than before. So if you meet somebody today and they're out of your league, you're less likely to get that person today than if you've known them for the last 10 or 15 years.
Stedman.
Apparently so. I got 3 actually. The 19th century telegram was commonly used to find dates and has been nicknamed the Victorian internet. So when I was a kid, it was in the newspaper. Looking single white female looking for yada yada yada. So that was the online dating of 1983 or whatever the case may be.
You know how hard you gotta be to call the newspaper, put an ad out, like somebody read this.
There is a common dating rule to determine whether your potential love interest is too young for you. Well, see, now the game has changed because we have what you call cougars. This opens the game up for women.
We'll tell that to Hugh Hefner.
Hey. And finally, number 10, it says men are usually the first ones to say, I love you. I hear that all the time. What about you fellas? Were you the first to say I love you to your wife?
It's situational because what was the situation that was said in? Because if she was like, well, no, I want to be loved first. I love you. See, that can be a whole bunch of different ways.
Let's go to the comments. Who even knows, really? We dated for 2 months. Who is this, by the way?
That's Deanna.
Deanna McCoy.
Deanna McCoy, my girl. Who even knows, really? We dated for 2 months, got engaged, married 5 months after that. That was almost 17 years ago. We went to church together. That was the difference, I think.
That
Very
was
good.
the difference. That was the big difference right there.
People who get divorced after 20 years have usually been mad or irritated about the same thing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That's the best comment of the night. We can shut the show down. I truly believe that's the case. She didn't put her underwear up in 1998. She's still not doing it in 2018. You know what? I done had enough. Enough's enough. And I can actually see that as being a part of it. What do y'all think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's really, that's a big factor. Like, you know, after that long, especially if it was like it wasn't any other factors or anything going on. After that long, it's like, dang, you know, like what she once did. It was a reoccurring issue somewhere.
All right, so y'all, we rocking and rolling. Hey, y'all keep the comments in. Deanna, we love them. Tony Goodson, Leonard, y'all, thank y'all so much. Megan, keep the comments going. We got about 30 more minutes of show. First, we're going to take us a quick break. We got to pay some bills here real quick. We're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to ask the question, are we dating for a commitment or are we dating just to get lucky? What do you men think? When we come back.
Hey, yo, Ace, who do we have on the show?
Sorry, wrong one.
Want to bring that curb appeal back to your home or business? Let us help you. Call Ace Power Washing at 469-337-4080 or email us at powerwashingace3@gmail.com. Whether it's sidewalks, driveways, house or building washing, we'll take care of it. Call or email today for your free quote. We'll see you soon.
Rebrand us. It's motivating, inspiring. It's a conversation that needs to be had. It's Adrian and Ace Stinson.
If you're not gonna help, don't hurt.
Eric Russell.
We need financial literacy. We also need to get over this level of fear that we have.
Anthony Gibson.
That my ancestors, whether they were slaves, innovators, are the first blacks to do something. Their lives had a purpose.
It's unique to any other podcast. It's rebrand you, rebrand me. It's rebrand us.
I keep forgetting I got to turn that off. It's too long.
Hey,
welcome
that's
back.
some powerful stuff right there.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Rebrand us right here on YouTube as well as on Facebook. My name is Anthony Goodson alongside Eric Russell, Adrian A. Stinson. Tonight we're talking about why is dating harder. Y'all, thank y'all for bringing y'all's comments in. Keep them coming. We will continue to pull them up with your name, but the question
We want to hear some horror stories too. So if y'all got some horror stories, we definitely want to hear that.
The question that we had before we went to break: what are people dating for? Ladies, we want you to tell us. What are men dating for? Men, we want you to tell us. Actually, I would like to hear what the ladies think men would say, and I would like to hear what the men would think that the ladies would say. So the question that we posed was, are we dating for commitment, or are we just dating to get lucky? Is there a purpose behind dating? And I know we're gonna have to get at some point. We're gonna have a conversation about not what's the other word for dating? The Christian
Courting.
Yeah, we want to talk about courting as opposed to dating and all those things. But are we dating for commitment, or are we just dating to get lucky? What do y'all think?
You talking about just overall, or coming from a broad standpoint?
Hey, overall, I guess.
Me personally, it was lucky.
You
Very
got lucky.
lucky.
We know you got lucky at least 3 times.
At least 3. I mean, I think that's situational. You know what you see. See now that's
he was
that's
dating
dating
for
for a purpose.
Listen, if a person dates a person for 3 months and they marry them for 49 years, not only what they said earlier is true about the look thing, they were dating for commitment. Sorry, Pops, I had to do that. I don't even see the name, but I knew it was my Pops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Comment list. They said, yep, it's cute 2 times, but not 2 times. Eric,
Sound
can you read
that?
That's from a previous comment. So she's responding back.
Yeah, she was saying, like when people getting divorced after 20 years, there must have been something. She said, yep, it's cute 2 times, but not 2 times, 20 years, 7 days a week.
Arguing, fighting. Yeah.
You have multiple versions of women out there. Miss Independent, looking for a sugar daddy, etc. Yeah, and you know what? The dating. Okay, so I asked that question about dating. Like, are we dating for commitment, or are we dating to get lucky? But then here's the question. There's so many dating styles out there, dating situations. Number one, you have different races. Then you have interracial situations. Now we have the gay situation, older, younger, all of these things.
And then they're introducing new dynamics too. Like the poly community is really making the move now.
It is.
So yeah, it's a lot of different dynamics and things now that are more acceptable that weren't. They've always been around, but now they're out there like this is a norm now.
Because we got this real weird dynamic in the world today, especially here in America, where the left, Republicans or Democrats versus the right are not liking each other so much. There's no meeting in the middle, and I think a lot of the America is becoming like that. You have men versus women, straight versus gay, left versus right, all these things, and I think that now we're in a place.
Who would win the straight versus gay? Like if it was just a big brawl fight, like you think they'll come in windmilling and take us all out, or we got a chance?
I'm not gonna find out. There's nothing for me to gain in a situation like that. All right, so we got a couple questions that was sent to us through email. It says, let's talk about women's complaints back then versus nowadays. What are the difference between yesterday's complaints and today's?
In regards to dating?
Perhaps. That's all it gave me, so yes.
Yes.
Complaints. Well, I mean, the stuff that we hear. So nowadays, wait, that sounds more interesting than the question. The men who are homosexuals, fake poly, they aren't looking for anything. Oh well, yeah, con artists.
Or is it misspelled?
I think looking to like live and leech off of. Correct me if I'm wrong. I told you, don't let her throw them big words. She's professional. I think it might be a nomenclature we don't know about. Word of the day. But with the complaints, it's like I guess what do you hear that now like today the big thing is money and not willing to do this, not willing to do that, and stuff like that. What's some of the stuff like I guess from the past that you used to hear, like complaints back in the day you used to hear about men from women?
It seems like the same complaint would always be it'd be the same. It's either loyalty, perhaps, or commitment, something in that range.
I think it's been the same too. I think money speaks louder now. I think it's more consistent, and it's just continuance. So I think that's the biggest complaint that you hear about most situations in dating and relationships in general is that you got to be able to do this for me, you got to be able to do that for me, and you just hear it more consistently. So it may not be as many problems, but that's the major problems. And if the major problem is the money thing, then you're going to hear it over and over and over again as opposed to having 3 or 4 different problems.
LOL, that's not a professional word. They date women they don't really like for a place to live. Yeah. Well, you know what? I like that, Megan, because you're finishing a thought that I was having. And I'm about to say something controversial, but please let me see if I can work through this.
This doesn't reflect the views of everybody on the Rebrand the Show. Anthony Goodson, speak for himself.
Yeah. When I think about dating, I mean, you think about what benefit does a woman have for the man in the dating situation, especially if you go back in time, women made far less money than men. So it's almost, I guess it's okay to say that women needed us financially a little bit more for that purpose, right? But nowadays, women don't need us like they used to need us. We actually need them at this point because everything costs so much money. I'm not talking about dealing with kids, and I'm not talking about creating families and all that. I'm just talking about as individuals, 2 single people coming together and living together. Now I feel like we need them so much more financially because, the price of everything versus how we used to. And so now their value has actually changed. And I don't know if women even recognize that as much as it should be recognized. And I know men don't acknowledge it, but I don't believe men recognize it. Let's go to the comment real quick. It says, we do, just not for money. There we go. Eric, you about to say something?
Oh no, we're just listening.
You ain't the audience, you boy.
I mean, you can't prime me up and I got nothing to say.
Okay.
That's about 10 seconds dead air for nothing. Come on.
Says the person who don't have nothing to say, right?
I don't. I'm checking YouTube. I'm checking other stuff right now.
All right. Well, hey, look, why is dating so hard? Here's some of the 5 biggest issues with dating today. All right. Tell me what y'all think about this. Audience and everyone. Knowing what you want. They said that's one of the reasons why dating is so hard. Stop me when y'all hear something interesting. Number 2, pressure and harassment.
Oh, stop that.
One survey found that 57% of women and 35% of men have experienced some kind of harassment when dating. Well, I can see that. Pandemic dating. With several lockdowns and social restrictions, the world is now looking forward to hopefully a brighter day. Of course, we're not in that anymore, so this might be a couple years old. Number 4, dating apps, and then number 5, ghosting. Wow. Anybody ever been ghosted?
Explain that ghosting for me. How that situation works.
In today's society, ghosting is practically normalized behavior. Ghosting occurs when a person abruptly stops all forms of communication for no apparent reason. If you reach out, they ignore any attempts to rekindle the conversation. Essentially, ghosting is a rejection without a sense of closure. You have no idea what actually happened. So how do you cope with the ghosting without detaching yourselves from all future interests?
Well, main question on that is this before or after the luck?
It depends. That's contingent. But I think the COVID thing is very it weighs heavy right now on what's happening because I mean social media and the dating apps was prior to COVID, but became much more prevalent even after COVID. And I've seen people having dates with masks on before. I've seen that on some shows and other.
Oh, it was a COVID mask.
So,
I've seen them with the red balls in their mouth and that.
So I think that's a mainstay. It's not going anywhere. It's going to continue getting more and more play, and It's not going. It's just not going anywhere, which is okay. I think we still have to figure out how to interact in a way that you can get to know the person in person and see who they are as a person. So you can see if you can be if you are compatible with that person. Otherwise, you're just talking or texting.
So I believe this is Megan. She said, so it's an assassination technique. Leonard, that's nice. That. I like that too. Women still like to be treated like they are special. Men are not the men they used to be. They realize that the women, I guess it's probably gonna,
or directors of nursing.
Well, I think that's true. I think I kind of goes to the love languages right there. Like women need to be treated special, but each woman is different. Each man is different. Yeah, and I'm on perspective about love languages, but I do think that's talking more towards that type of stuff for sure. That's a good comment.
It's the chivalry with that right there. So let's talk about that real quick when we talk about the generational differences and stuff like that. The coolest player dude out of women, he would open the door, close the door, you know, he tiptoe around the car, you know, and get in stuff like that. And now, because of the culture and the music and the way everything leads, it's like they kind of act like the woman better be lucky she with me.
Well, is this an age thing though? Does it stop at a certain age? Like
no, I don't think it's an age.
In our mid-40s.
I think it's a generational. I think it's a generational thing.
Well, where's that generation? I mean, where's that in? Where's that gap begin and end?
So I guess I'd say 30 and below.
Okay, so let's get back to that after this comment. They're becoming passport brothers.
No, he said bro. He said bro. He said bro. Really, that man type BROS. You think you can have them other letters on his keyboard?
I had no comment. So, I mean, it's interesting because we always talk about the different generations and the different things. There's some things about the younger generation I like. All of us on this podcast would love to be able to sit home and make $800,000 a year from making a TikTok. They have turned lazy into profit, and that's cool. I got no problem with that, especially because at our age, at nighttime, what are we doing? We're scrolling, looking at the work that they put in. So we're being entertained by their work. They deserve to be paid for. That's okay. I got no problem with that because they're not going to work, being told what to do by some person and finding unhappiness 8 hours a day. Okay, but then the rest of the world is the issue that I have, the dating side of things, because sex is going to always be an issue in this world, especially if you're talking about sex before marriage, and they're always going to want it. Now they don't know how to get it because they can't go face to face and say something to some woman, get her phone number, and do it like it should be done. Instead, they're going to use their very first same phone that they made that $800,000 on. And see, that's where I believe the problem comes in, because now the communication goes away. Because the backlash of you not going to work and listening to your boss 8 hours a day is you don't have any consequences throughout the day. You make a 30-second video and you can do whatever you want for $800,000. And so when you don't get the same results doing whatever you want with another person, now we're looking at higher rate divorce. Now we're looking at that dude shooting that girl up that you were talking about earlier. There needs to be a shift about money. Just because we don't need men for money didn't mean we don't need them for other good things. Companionship, love, etc. Some have issues with their women make more than them.
And I never understood those guys. I'm practically in favor of that. Please make more.
Many women with money just want a faithful, loving man that works. At least that is what my research says, assuming that's Megan or Leonard. So
it's me.
Your woman makes $250,000. You make $75,000.
Hey man,
is Megan single or married? Real quick though.
You say what?
Is Megan single or married? Just real quick, just curious.
I don't want to get it wrong. Megan, reply to us because I don't want to give you wrong status. You be mad at me. I'm like what?
No. I mean, I think it's important, like for perspective, because she got some really good comments. So I'm just curious of her perspective.
If I'm betting, it seems like she's single, divorced perhaps, but I don't. I mean, based off what she was saying, or she may be a counselor with other divorced women. I don't know, but that's what it looked like. So the perspective, she said, "Say that again." I don't know if that's me. Let me. Okay.
You say everything you just said again.
$250,000 a year. If that's what you make versus your wife makes that and you make 75. Can you handle that?
Yes.
Is she the head of the household at that point?
No.
Look at your face, Ace. That's funny.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
So let's back the question up. She said, "Oh yeah, both." Let's back the question up. You meet your wife today. She makes $250,000.
Hey man.
You only make 75.
Hey man.
Now, how does the dynamic of that conversation on a first date go?
Gratefulness. Gonna definitely get lucky, and that might lead to a little more, faster commitment and marriage. Tie that thing on up.
Well, I think those type of things, you gotta definitely have more communication about, and that's what that being face to face, having that interaction like that. This dude here is having a hard time that day, but tied up face. Anyway, because I think that some I agree, some men do have issues with women making more money than dating or not, because power is associated with money, and power is associated with leadership, and whether that's accurate or not in your relationship, that's how some people put,
I'm gonna tell you something.
communication has to be put out there both ways. How you feel about that? How she feel about that? Can it work? Can it not work? If it can't work now, guess what? It ain't gonna work. 10 years later, you married.
That depends on his maturity level. My wife has always made more than me. I'm perfectly fine with that.
All right, so I wanted to leave this question up. For those of you just joining us, we're talking, why is dating harder? We've elevated all the way now to the woman makes more money. So she said, hopefully I don't know who this is. They said, hopefully it motivates you to elevate too.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about that for a minute. This is the issue with dating. See, this is a money thing. I don't know that, because if you make $75,000 a year, what if you're a school teacher? And not a principal, but a school teacher, $75,000 is good money. So all of a sudden now we're talking, this is a money question. It's like you have to do more to get to that 250 that she's at. I may be 100% happy at the $75,000 that I'm at. But this question insists that I must do more, that I'm not there yet. So I almost feel like this question, this post or whatever this comment, is telling me that $75,000 and 250 just don't equate.
Well, you have to be able to help manage that. It's like, I know I have my 75, you have your 250. Let me just show you how to arrange this so that we can manage this properly.
Let's go to the comment. It says, at the end of the day, men want to feel needed. At some point, if it looks like you don't need that man, he will most likely look for someone else who does. I agree with that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Not really. Only if you have an issue with her making more money. I saw a comment, or actually I saw a Joyce Myers, world-renowned female minister or evangelist. She goes around the world, makes speeches. She's with the likes of T.D. Jakes, so forth and so on. I'm sure she's a millionaire. I have no clue, but I bet she's way up into the millions. She made the comment one time. Of course, she got several books and so forth, but she said, my name is Joyce Myers. I'm all over the world. People see me as this world-renowned, blah, blah, blah. She said, but when I get off the stage, I am Mrs. Myers. My husband grabs my hand and he takes over. He's now the leader. So I don't think the money has anything to do with it, because I think that I don't even know if he works. I'm sure he does, but if he doesn't work, he can manage what she does. And now we can put the puzzles together. It's not about the money. It's how I can elevate you. So I think once you start looking at money and how much she makes versus I make, that's where we lose. Fortunately, I make more money than my wife. So that's never been an issue that I've had to deal with. But I can just see, as a man who would make less, if she don't respect me and the power and the leadership that I have, money is not really the issue. So anyway, going to a comment. Not really. No, not really. Only if you have an issue with her making more. Okay.
Let's see. And we're gonna have a conversation about married people here soon too. So I definitely want to continue this conversation around dating, because I think some of these are, as people say, not red flags. That's when you have this conversation with your potential spouses or your potential dating partners or whatever it may be. These are things you have to talk about prior to engaging or prior to trying to get married to people. And you can find out easily the first, second, or third date for the most part how people sit on these particular tandems or these particular topics. So ask questions. I know a lot of women come to dates these days. I've heard anyway that they come to dates with like interview questions. You got to come with interview questions. Just have a conversation. These things come up naturally. So
married people should be dating more than single people.
Agreed.
Agree.
I agree. Definitely agree with that.
Well, you know,
I mean, but how do you introduce that other person into the house to you? To the spouse?
But
that's not what
somebody set that up for him, didn't they? They said it got to be Leonard.
It is
got to be Leonard. Yeah, he set that up.
The good thing about this is the comment is great, but goes back to dating in the first place. So if you didn't learn how to date in the first place, let's say you didn't learn how to date in the first place, you know what to do to go back to it. Because we got to renew that sometimes. Because especially getting families and kids and stuff involved in it, you have to get back to that renewal of that dating phase, that friend phase.
A couple weeks we got a show coming up called Money versus Fame and all the things in between, power being one of those. So I like that comment. We'll talk more about that. Hey, look, we got about 10 minutes before the show ends. We're talking about why is dating harder? I guess to finish it off, I think, rebrand us. The foundation of who we are is godliness, of course, right? We started off talking about race and all that stuff. But most importantly, God was the foundation of this show. So I think it's important for us to say dating versus courtship. Like, what exactly is the difference? Do y'all know?
I think it's intent. I think courtship kind of I think courtship makes a statement on intent. Like, courting somebody means, I'm involved with this person with the intent to see if we are compatible and if, we are going to get to a big thing. Dating is just dating. Hey, I like to have a good time. Let's go out. So I think intent is the difference between those words.
So Eric, what do you think?
Honestly, I totally agree with that. I think there's a different level of intentionality about courtship. It's not necessarily a 100% like everybody do the same thing, but there's a lot of similarities when you have courtship across the board. Open, like you said, somebody said earlier, open up doors for women, make sure they feel loved and feel special, things like that. Something simple as that, open up doors, bringing flowers, things like that.
So how come we don't say stuff like, I'm going out on the first courtship?
Because we don't think, when we think about dating, we don't think about necessarily God. We think about world and what we're going to get out from that date.
Lucky.
So, excuse me. So is it possible that I could be going out on the first court with a person who's going out on the first date? Is that the reason why it doesn't end up being a marriage?
Definitely, because I mean, it's different people have different intent. You might be looking for courtship, and she just might, haven't had that affection in a while and ready to consummate that.
Courtship seems to be rare, unfortunately. Eric?
And courtship comes with a lot of sacrifice too. Courtship, typically, you're not having sex prior to marriage, or you're trying your best not to.
Whoa! Hey, you're taking us too fast now.
No, we talking about godliness. We're about courtship from godliness.
Courtship and fornication. Now we have to keep those separate.
Well, once again, we don't copy what they say on this one at all. Because godliness, we're talking about.
Couldn't go that fast, huh? You just said that. But all right. So give me three differences between courtship and dating. Obviously, sex is one. Fornication, that's one. But give me 2-3 more.
I think you put the other person. I think it's all about sacrifice. Still, I think you put the other person in front of you, because the dating you put yourself in front of the other person typically.
So in a courtship, in a dating situation, I wish this person would go on a date. I ask. In a courtship situation, I pray for this individual. From the very beginning, there's intent. From the very beginning, must there be some Christ? Because can a person of the world who is not Christian, who do not know God, who has no relationship with Him, consider themselves in a courtship situation? Because dating seems to be more of a worldly thing. Courtship is more of a spiritual thing. So can they enjoy a courtship?
I think so, because it's still intent. That person of the world might be looking to, go in a different direction, or or whatever the case may be. So, like I said, it's the intent that they have for that person.
All right, so we're gonna close the show out here in just a little bit. I'm gonna throw one last question out there. It's kind of this question, but it's a little bit different. Women control the dating scene. It's a reflection of what they nurture. All right, so somebody asked me the question the other day. I forgot the second half of it, but it was women control marriage. Do y'all believe that women control marriage or men control marriage?
I think women, because they have to say something if it goes down or not.
You talking marriage or dating?
Marriage. Do they control the marriage scene?
That's a comment.
I think if it's, in my opinion, if it's done right, I think women do control the dating, but I think men control the marriage. But I think there's a lot of say-so on both sides in marriage. But I think that's how I think men control marriage as women control dating.
Okay, I think that it's kind of hard, like you say. Women control. I believe the key to marriage, of course, is the first date, and I believe women control that part. All right, y'all. It's been a pretty good show. We got one more comment that just came in. It says, "I think it depends on the journey, too. I do."
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on the journey too. I do. Okay, great.
Okay,
And, thank you.
Oh, a minute.
Hey, look, next week we're coming back. Eric, what's the show next week?
I don't know. You keep priming me up, man. I'm not ready for these.
Eric ain't ready for nothing.
Eric is tired.
Eric, what's your last name?
Hey, man, you need to start courting this show. Don't date us, man.
I am tired. I'm here. This is sacrifice tonight. I am exhausted.
Oh, so he is courting. He's
Oh, okay, well, anyway, we got a great show for y'all next week. Like I said, we got another show in a couple of weeks talking about money versus what did I say? Money versus
fame. He found it great, though. Don't even know what the.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I enjoy that one. But first,
let me say this real quick. Can we get people? I know Anthony put on the for Brandon's Facebook page about people coming on. Wow, about people maybe they may be married in their 20s, married in their 40s, maybe married in their 60s. Could be any race, but we are looking for people to come on for that. So we have people that could come on, but we're looking for different couples or different women, especially that can have a perspective from a married woman perspective. Please email us at rebranderspodcast@yahoo.com, or you can come in on our Facebook page or our YouTube page. We definitely will be want to get more people to involve in that conversation. And we're talking about dating tonight, huh?
And we want poly couples. Bring both.
We don't. Girls. We do not, and we want to make sure we do not. But we do. We will definitely have a conversation about that. Because we talk about dating tonight. Dating /courtship, depending on how you look at it, does lead to marriage in one way or another, fashion or form. So, if you're married in your 20s, married in your 40s, and married in your 60s, please give us a shout out. rebranderspodcast@yahoo.com. Rebrand us podcast@yahoo.com.
Hey, yo, Ace, who do we have on the show next week?
I'm discussing the topics that have to deal with the black family thing. You know the food or the drink is good when the person says swallow instead of swallow. We're going to have an interview with Liberians with Tourette syndrome. And the name of the show is going to be titled Breaking the Rules. We will have their mics muted most of the time. Married couples that swing at the playground. Are they confused or just risk takers? Giggity, giggity. We'll see how that goes. You know,
catch Adrian, the Ace Stinson, and the rest of the Rebranders crew live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central on YouTube and Instagram at Rebranders Podcast, Facebook at Rebranders, or rebranders.org.
I work too hard. Look, I work too hard for this stuff, man.
I tell you, it's just goofiness sometimes. All right, listen. Before we throw it to you, here are some of the top first date questions that you should ask someone. What's something you want to learn or wish you were better at? Is that a good one? What does a typical day in your life look like? Did you play any sports growing up? These are horrible. I would never ask none of these questions.
Well, what would you do? Typical day?
What would you do with your time if money was no object? And finally, what was the last show you binge watched? There's many, many more. I got all of this on insider.com/guides. Y'all be sure to go check it out if you're single and you want to have some questions to ask.
Anyway, on our Facebook page.
Yeah, post your own questions, though, because we come up with better ones than that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you real quick why the typical day is important. She might be like, well, I get to the club around 9:30. I get undressed and get into my outfit. Usually I have to go get some change, so we can start with the ones. And you're like, wait a minute. So that's important.
Hey, yo, Ace, who the hell on the show next week?
Well, we're gonna kind of keep this conversation kind of going in a sense. So I got a few people. So next week we're actually gonna have people on Plenty of Fish that have naked profile pictures. Is it full clarity or just artistic expression? We'll be talking to them about that.
Okay.
Hey, it ain't